Hello and welcome. I'm Reverend Tomas Garza. I am the host of A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love, which appears here on YouTube in a couple of different places. One is my own YouTube channel, and the other is the YouTube channel for Enlightened World Network. So wherever you got this link, wherever you're joining me from today, welcome, and I hope to share some really, really valuable experience and insight with you today. We've got a very, very good question and a hot topic of conversation. And thank you, Sue Seekoff from Enlightened World Network, for mentioning this to me. Because it comes to her attention, right? And it comes to all of our attention, comes to mine all the time, that people are really struggling in a relationship. Often what we mean by that is we're really struggling in an intimate relationship or in a partnership, whether it's with someone that we're married to or not married to, could be a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend, or this could be a relationship with a child. It could be a relationship with a work associate or a colleague or your neighbor whom you're not related to in any way. Really could be any relationship, but the overall question is one that we have all dealt with at one time or another, and we all, to some degree, may continue to deal with it. And maybe this is speaking to you right now. It's how do you come back to love in a relationship when you're struggling in that relationship, especially self love? How do you come back to loving yourself and valuing and honoring yourself when you're struggling in a relationship? So let's just take a an intimate relationship and a partnership as our foundational centerpiece for this discussion, and know that this can apply to any relationship that you have with another human being. Or it could be with an organization of human beings. Maybe you've got a board of directors and you're opposed to them or they're opposed to you, whatever the situation is. Let's just take an intimate relationship as our basis for approaching this. And, well, this is a conversation that I used to have with people all of the time, because for 13 years of this lifetime, I worked quite actively as a family mediator, which means exactly what it sounds like. It means bitter, high stakes custody and parenting time disputes between two parents who were either in the process of going through a divorce, or if they weren't married, they had children and were trying to figure out and needed some help figuring out what they were going to do with their arrangements with the kids, which can be difficult enough to think about. And you throw in all of the hurt and all of the pain that a breakup involves. And that was my daily reality for 13 years. And I would sit with grieving parents for several hours a day. I would often schedule myself too much, but that was what I did. And some people really, really struggled quite a lot with this self love component. So I want to say that I am not a certified relationship coach. I am not a licensed clinical social worker. I'm not an attorney, happily. I'm not a practicing and licensed psychotherapist. So I don't give advice on what people should and shouldn't do with the outcome of their intimate relationship. What I will say from a spiritual standpoint is that if you are called and compelled to stay in the relationship, then listen to that. If, on the other hand, you're called and compelled to leave the relationship, listen to that. But the question is a good one. How will I know? So let's address that self love component, because in the middle of all the drama, I'm divorced. I know there's a lot of drama that goes into it. So, in the midst of that, how do you know what to do? Well, one thing that you can do is come back to yourself and what you can and cannot control. No matter what the other person's reactions, their speech, their statements, their shouts, right? No matter what all of that looks like and sounds like, those are all their reactions. So the question from the standpoint of a spiritual practitioner has got to be, what do I do with that? It is, in fact, about how you respond. You may choose not to respond at all. And by the way, if you're experiencing abuse, you know that there is help available, and get that help. And if you're not, in the sense of physical abuse, okay, that's one situation, but understand that abuse happens in many forms in a relationship. And oftentimes the verbal is very nasty and very damaging. I know that too from personal experience. So we have control over how we respond, what we say, or whether we say anything at all, and how we treat ourselves. We do have control over that. You might say, no, I don't. Well, actually, you do. You do have control over that. Always, what we can all do, and we've all done it, maybe you're doing it right now, we can all deny that we have that control and try to set it aside, put it outside of ourselves. Say that, no, I'm a victim of this situation. I'm the victim of that situation. Somebody else is in control here. Well, all right, maybe there's some things that you don't necessarily have a say in, but you do have a say in your own state of mind. This is where a lot of us struggle with coming back to loving ourselves. Why? Because we feel less than. We feel lacking. We feel that we're not worthy of love, that we have done a number of things wrong. And you don't have to be gaslighted by another person in order to heap all of these judgments upon yourself. Do you? So if you're doing that, I would simply invite you to pay attention to doing that. When you notice, that's the opportunity to do something differently. All of this is all spiritual practice. In essence, it's all about what we do, think, say, how we behave, how we show up right now. Right now. That's why I say repeatedly that you're in control, because you are. You could cede that control to an outside force or deny that you have it. Yes, of course, you can do that. However, you're still in control. That's your decision to make. So, coming back to self love can involve any number of things. If that means ending a relationship, that means ending a relationship. If that means staying in a relationship and setting some healthy boundaries and having a constructive conversation about how you're going to move forward, then that's what that means. But we often neglect, all too often, neglect the little things here. We neglect these moments of very easy to implement self-care. Even if it's taking a couple of deep breaths or a short walk in the park or the woods or on the beach or wherever you live, anything that can, even for a few moments, get you out of the hamster wheel of recycled guilt is a good thing. So I invite you to consider what's available to you in your situation for this really critical self-care. And there is plenty of help available in many different forms. And I just want to reassure you that you are worthy of loving yourself. You are capable of loving and being loved. And how do I know that? We are love itself. This, at the core, is who we all are. Now, it doesn't matter whether you follow A Course in Miracles, as I do, or you have a completely different spiritual practice. But it is about this, and it is about what we do and how we treat ourselves in the present moment. It is about that, no matter what tradition or traditions you follow. And if you don't follow any, you might be looking at all of them, which is actually really cool, isn't it? It's great because here in the 21st century, with modern technology, I'm using it right now on YouTube, we have access to every single tradition that exists in the world. So the only reason we don't pursue it is because we don't want to, right? So truthfully, it's an exciting time to be here. Now, of course, we've got drama and a whole lot of crap to deal with. Maybe you're in the midst of a lot of it right now, but my message to you is you are worthy of loving and being loved. Why we are loved. Now, it is not limited to love between two people. When I say on all of my video recordings and podcasts and things like that, choose love, I'm not talking about a single intimate relationship between only two people. Love is inclusive. It is inclusive. So choose love of everyone and everything, including yourself. A lot of people get this wrong. What happens? We suffer. And what I used to tell grieving parents with children, you may or may not have kids, but the point is the same. Your kids, I used to tell them, need you at your best on a given day. Even if you're just really struggling and you're on the verge of tears and you're just managing to get by, they need to see you at the best that you're capable of on that day. Be nice to yourself, right? And don't beat yourself up too much. It'd be great if you didn't do it at all, but catch yourself if you find yourself doing it. If you are struggling on a given day, just do your best on that day. I used to tell parents this all of the time, that their kids need them to be the best that they're capable of right now in the present moment. Everyone around you needs you to be at your best. And if you don't love yourself, how can you show up in your light? It's not possible. So you must begin the work where it belongs, inside. Everything else is simply an effect. You, your mind, you are the center of attention on this. Everything that we see is symbolic of something going on in our own mind. So it is imperative that we work on the internal stuff. All right. My hope is that you find something helpful and of value here, which is why I offer and I offer these videos and I pop in to discuss some real life topics, because here's where the rubber meets the road with any spiritual practice, no matter what that looks like for you. It's in the practical application, isn't it? We can understand theory as much as we want to. We can read as many books as we want to and get clear on what a tradition is and isn't saying. But until we put it into practice in our daily lives, it doesn't really have that same meaning. You know, it's our experience that shows us the truth of what's being taught. So self-love, self-care, it's vital and you're worth it. So whatever that looks like to you, that is what I invite you to tap into. Now, as always, please feel welcome to reach out to me here on YouTube by subscribing or commenting to this channel, or you are more than welcome to reach out to me on social media. Facebook and Instagram in particular are the platforms that I'm on the most. And you can find all of the Course in Miracles videos here. They're updated frequently on the YouTube channel for Enlightened World Network and my own channel. So please reach out if you have any questions or need some specific help with that internal work, because that's what I'm all about. And sometimes we just need to ask for help, don't we? All right, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. And be sure to catch any of these videos. If you're interested in A Course in Miracles, please hit me up. I'm more than happy to discuss that with you. And anything else that I can do for you. I appreciate your time, guys. Thank you so much.